I suppose the headline of this report is that the RCMP did in fact confiscate weapons that they shouldn't have in High River. But the report is certainly not a condemnation of the actions of Mounties who were working in southern Alberta during the floods of 2013. In fact, the report concludes that officers were in fact justified in seizing many of the more than 600 firearms that they removed from more than 100 homes at the time. And essentially, the report goes on to say that if officers were in a home on official business, say during a search and rescue operation, and saw an improperly stored weapon, so one that was sitting out in the open, they were within their rights to secure the weapon. However, if Mounties returned to a home to retrieve weapons at a later date or searched a home beyond the scope of that mission, then this was in fact unlawful. And while it's tough to put an exact number on it, the chair of the commission, Ian MacPhail, says these unlawful seizures did happen.
While mistakes were made on the operational level, there were firearms seized which ought not to have been. There were some entries made which weren't proper, where secondary entries needed warrants. There's no evidence that we found that any of this was done with bad faith.
So you can hear there that while the commission is clear that mistakes were made, they don't see that those mistakes were intentional. Instead, they say there was a breakdown in communication among the RCMP and between the organization and the public. Now, the report also criticizes the RCMP for not being prepared to handle a disaster like the flooding that hit southern Alberta in 2013. Now, fixing those problems of communication and coordination during a time of crisis are at the heart of the 10 recommendations coming out of this report. Aaron Collins, CBC News, Calgary.